All right, you feather merchants, this video is going to be about how and why inmates use disguised legal mail to introduce drugs into prison. And the why part is really easy. It's because the chances of getting caught is practically nil, and it's so easy to do. It's unbelievable. But I'm going to kind of break it down to you and why it was a problem inside Pelican Bay. Of course, I worked in Pelican Bay from 1990 to the end of 2005. So the information I'm going to give you is from that period. And most of the inmates that would use disguised legal mail were doing time in the security housing unit. And many of these guys were doing long sentences there. And they didn't have contact visits because actually contact visits is the number one way drugs get into prison. And in any prison, it's that way. But anyway, getting back to the disguised legal mail, the guys in the back in security housing unit, back then they could actually get packages sent from their loved ones and friends, and the packages would have all kinds of food items, and there's so many ways to smuggle drugs in. It's not even funny, but eventually that stopped. So inmates started using disguised legal mail a little more often because they didn't have a lot of choices. Um, Actually, one of the choices is sometimes inmate on the general population would get drugs and keister them and get himself sent to the security housing unit, and of course, then he would give those drugs to whoever was requesting them. And some of these guys, they had body cavities so large they could be delivering pizzas back there to those guys in the security housing unit. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about disguised legal mail. Anyway, it back then we had over 3,000 inmates inside Pelican Bay. That's a lot of inmates. And in the mail room at that time, uh, they would process something like 5,000 pieces of mail going in and out of Pelican Bay daily. And that includes letters, postcards, um, legal mail. And the women that were in charge of inspecting the mail, I mean, they don't have they don't have that many women doing this, and it's not their job to look for drugs in the mail or to try to determine if legal mail is valid or not. They don't have time to do that. So that's where the investigative units come into play. But anyway, what I would try to do, and I try to do it on a daily basis, but they had us doing so many other things, plus responding to alarms and that sort of thing. But I would try to go down to the mail room daily if I could, and look through postcards, looking for the meth smoke soaked postcards and heroin hidden inside greeting cards. That was very prevalent. But on legal mail, there'd always be a stack of legal mail. And the mailroom staff, they would log it in, and then they would distribute it to the unit that it's going to. So then when the legal mail goes to a unit, the officer in charge of that unit, he would use the legal logbook and log it in and give it to the inmate. There's a attorney-client privilege, and you can't read their legal mail. And the officers in the buildings, they haven't got the time or the means to investigate whether this is real or disguised. And that's where uh, the security squad or gang investigators come in. And if you don't have guys that are willing to do this, well, it just goes to the inmates. And what I would do is, anytime I saw something that I thought was questionable, I would call the attorney and ask him, "Did you send this legal mail to this inmate?" And sometimes they'd say yes, and many times they'd say, "No, I don't even know an inmate in Pelican Bay." So then I would take that and go down to the security housing unit, and I'd have the inmate come out of his cell, and they had pods, and I'd have him come to the door, and I'd tell him you have legal mail, and I would show him the envelope with the legal mail, and I'd ask him, "Is this your attorney?" And they would all say, "Yes, that's my attorney." I said, "Okay." So I'd have them sign a legal logbook saying that they're accepting responsibility for this mail. And before I would tell them why I'm delivering this, I'd ask them to tell me how long he's been your attorney. And they'd make up a story. Sometimes they'd have an elaborate story they'd make up. He's been my attorney for a long time. He had my original case, so forth. And I would always ask him, I said, "Well, what if I told you that this guy doesn't even know you?" And of course, the response usually was, "Well, doesn't surprise me. He's got a lot of clients." And I thought, yeah, I bet that's what it is. And anyway, I would open the envelope that contained their disguised legal mail, and right away they, "Oh, hey, you can't open my legal mail." And I would tell them, "Well, sir, you're right, but I suspect that this is disguised legal mail." And due to the fact that the attorney that his name is on this mail, he doesn't. He said he never sent it. So I think possibly one of your friends might have sent it. So anyway, he would tell me they get real nervous about this. But what I would do, I would take the papers out of the envelope, turn them upside down, and hold up each page one at a time to the light, looking for heroin or other drugs that happen to be in between the pages. And invariably, you get about halfway through, and there would be a big bundle of black tar heroin, and sometimes a few bundles of black tar heroin. And anyway, it was a big problem, and so many inmates would get drugs in to the security housing unit that way. When they did away with the packages, they went to vendors, and I imagine by now they have their friends that are working for these vendors, and they've circumvented that process also. But and back then, a gram of black tar heroin in Pelican Bay would go for about $800, and there were like 16 doses to a gram, so very lucrative. So anyway, that's how and why inmates would use disguised legal mail. And actually, sometimes you actually have attorneys that they send in mail that they shouldn't. And it's probably, this might come as a shock to many of you, but not all attorneys are really honest. Uh, Many of them, you shake hands with them, you need to count your fingers. And anyone that's ever had a go through a divorce would know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this isn't about divorces. It's about this guy's legal mail. And I want to thank you, Feather Merchants, for stopping by. And I'll see you on the next video. Okay.